White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer made some outrageous claims. Before I continue, let's just note again for the record that Sean Spicer sounds like a porn star, as does Jake Tapper. So, I would guess if there was an interview between Jake Tapper and Sean Spicer, it would end with a money shot, because that's what it sounds like it would end with. And Trump only picked Sean Spicer to be his press secretary because Crystal Jugs was busy. Does anybody else enjoy these corny-ass jokes that I'm just coming up with here? I know, I'm so funny. I have a future in comedy. So, putting aside the fact that his name seriously sounds like a fucking porn star, it's ridiculous. Sean Spicer. Seriously? Come on, man. Like, why would your parents go with Sean for the first name when Spicer's the last name? Sean makes it sound even more fucking porny. Okay, putting that aside for realsies. Okay. So he made some outrageous claims yesterday about the botched military raid that they did in Yemen, which killed massive numbers of civilians. Let's watch that, and then we'll come back and break it down.
Yemen has withdrawn permission for the United States to run special operations ground missions against suspected terrorists in the wake of the recent raid there that claimed so many civilian lives. Does that not undercut the administration's ability to fight terrorism in that region? And do you stand by your assessment that it's a success?
Absolutely. Well, I'll take the last one first. It's absolutely a success. And I think anyone who would suggest it's not a success does disservice to the life of Chief Ryan Owens. He fought knowing what was at stake in that mission. And anybody who would suggest otherwise doesn't fully appreciate how successful that mission was, what the information that they were able to retrieve was, and how that will help prevent future terrorist attacks. I understand that. I think my statement's very clear on that, Kristen. I think anybody who undermines the success of that raid owes an apology and a disservice to the life of Chief Owens. Hold on, Kristen, can I answer the question? I'm answering the question. Please let me finish. The raid, the action that was taken in Yemen was a huge success. American lives will be saved because of it. Future attacks will be prevented. The life of Chief Ryan Owens was done in service to this country, and we owe him and his family a great debt for the information that we received during that raid. I think any suggestion otherwise is a disservice to his courageous life and the actions that he just took. Full stop.
That was disgusting and 100% incorrect. So let's go through this a little bit here. He said the mission was, quote, absolutely a success. You know what happened in that mission? At least 30 civilians were killed. Now, originally they said, it's okay, we got one of the top Al-Qaeda guys. News came out a little bit after, a few days later. Nope. So they go, we got the top Al-Qaeda guy, so it's okay that we got some civilians. But then it turns out you didn't get the top Al-Qaeda guy. Then they said, well, it's okay because we got other Al-Qaeda guys. Haven't really seen any evidence of that either. But we know we got at least 30 civilians, including an 8-year-old girl. Absolutely a success. Could you flip the script? Imagine somebody did that to us. You know, hey, China did a raid in Arkansas in a KKK facility. Making this up, obviously. And they killed 30 civilians. They thought they got one of the top grand wizards of the KKK. But oops, they didn't get the grand wizards, but they did get an 8-year-old girl, an innocent 8-year-old girl. But we also, it's cool, don't worry about it. The mission was still, quote, absolutely a success. No, of course we'd never say that, because it's us. But when it's other civilians, when they happen to be in Yemen and they're poor, whatever, who cares? It's absolutely a success. But then it gets even worse. I don't know how it can get worse than that, but it did. He said, questioning the mission is, quote, a disservice. It undermines the mission in the USA, and you should give an apology to the dead soldier. So a U.S. soldier died in this raid. By that logic, you can't question any military action the U.S. has done. So U.S. soldiers died in Iraq. Is it fair to say, look, if you question it, you're doing a disservice to the troops and a disservice to America, and it undermines the fight, and you should do an apology? But then how the fuck would we ever change from a hawkish strategy? What you're saying is, it's wrong by definition to have a non-interventionist or non-hawkish position. So anytime you say, look, I don't want to go down that road. I think more fighting and more raids are a bad idea because it's not working. You're killing the wrong people. You're radicalizing more people. It's immoral. It's unethical. You're violating human rights, yada, yada. No, anytime you mention that position, it is a disservice to our troops and to the soldiers who died, and it undermines them, and you need to do an apology. Guys, this is the oldest trick in the book. You know, get a war fervor up in the country and then denounce the patriots who are dissenting like they're traitors. Oldest trick in the book. There were Nazi quotes about this is how you do it. You make everybody tie together the war with patriotism and love of country. And then anybody who says, I don't think that's a good idea. Traitor, treasonous. You do an apology. You're doing a disservice to the troops. You're undermining the country. You're doing this and that. No, see, these are sleazy, disgusting tricks that you use when you can't discuss the issue on the merits. So what are the merits? What's the evidence? What's the data? You killed 30 fucking civilians, including an 8-year-old girl. So you're the terrorists in this instance. Sorry, not really that sorry. It's the textbook definition of terrorism. And by the way, this is President Donald, let's take out their families, Trump. That's a quote. We have to take out their families. We have to take out their families. Guess what? He just took out their families. So, Spicer's wrong on every point there. And furthermore, he said this prevents future terror attacks. Utter bullshit. Zero evidence of that. They just, when you do something so egregiously wrong and your back's in the corner, you got to come up with something, right? You got to, we got to go on the offense and got to defend ourselves, deflect the attacks. So what do? It prevents future attacks. Really? How? And if you question it, you're unpatriotic and you're doing a disservice and you're undermining and you should do an apology. No, maybe you should do an apology. Maybe you should do an apology to the families that lost, their innocent civilian family members and friends in this. Maybe you should do it. Of course not. When we do it, it's right by definition. And there's, not to say that the U.S. soldier who died, that we shouldn't feel bad for them and the family because they're being used as pawns by this grotesque administration. Of course you should feel for them. But notice, no talk about the civilians that were killed. One U.S. death is worth more to these people than 30 innocent civilian deaths in Yemen. So look at the relative value that they put on human life. There's some American exceptionalism for your ass. One of us is worth more than 30 of you innocent people, and including an 8-year-old girl and many women. The moral compass is broken. It's been for a while, but now it's just even more clear that it's broken.